Hey everybody, welcome back to another business analysis video. As promised, today we will be exploring the project life cycle and the business analyst role within each stage of the life cycle. So today we'll be exploring each stage from planning to maintenance and examining the crucial role of the BA in both agile and waterfall methodologies. Let's get started. So before we start, let's talk about what a project lifecycle is. What exactly do I mean? A project lifecycle is a series of stages that must be gone through, that must be passed through in order for a project to be delivered from initiation to closure. From the start of the project, from when we start talking about it to when we finally do the work, the delivery of it. Typically, these stages are planning, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So there are 7 stages in the project life cycle. So let's start with the first one, which is planning. Planning, please don't confuse this with sprint planning, by the way, in the agile environment, okay? But in both agile and waterfall, the business analyst works to identify and understand the business needs. They help in defining the scope of the project. They help in defining the objectives and the deliverables of the project. So these are the roles within this planning stage that a business analyst performs. However, in agile, the planning phase is iterative. We already covered agile, right? In sprint, we're delivering chunks of things in sprints. The planning phase is iterative, meaning it's revisited throughout the project life cycle, while in waterfall, all the planning happens upfront. We plan whatever it is we're delivering for the project upfront. We know what we're delivering upfront, whereas in agile it's very flexible, so we plan it. Sprint planning. Sprint planning really is what I mean. But not exactly, because we still do a planning before everything goes into the product backlog. So try not to confuse these. Next up, analysis. When you think about analysis, there's a lot of things that business analyst does here. When you think about the word business analyst, we do a lot of analysis, right? What are we doing here? The business analyst starts identifying the detailed requirements. In waterfall, all the requirements are captured in the beginning. Everything is captured and signed off in your business requirements document, your BRD. But in agile, the requirements are gathered iteratively. Agile is iterative, just before each sprint. Again, allowing that flexibility and flexibility to changes. So we've looked at this planning and analysis. But the key roles in planning, right? I want us to know, apart from business analysts, what other roles are involved in planning. You have your project manager, your product owner, the BA, the SME, and any IT management teams. In analysis, your project manager, your product owner, your BA, as well as your SME are involved in the analysis stage, as well as the stakeholders, because you need to, business analysts, continuous communication to gather these requirements. Now, in the design stage, the key team members or the key people working here are your system architects, your UX and UI people, right? The people that are designing what the feature or the product should look like. But the business analyst also works here. So in waterfall, the business analyst will collaborate with the design team to create a template design based on the requirements gathered. So as business analysts, we want to have, maybe it's screenshots, maybe it's mock-ups, so that the design team have an idea of how things should look like, where certain things need to be placed, and all that various details. So in waterfall, remember, you create everything in that stage, in the design stage. You don't do it incrementally. Whereas in agile, the designs are created incrementally for each set of requirements. So in your user stories, your acceptance criteria that are captured in the backlog, that have been moved to the sprint, you will have screenshots for each of them or some sort of visual representation of the design of the requirement before the corresponding sprint. So you have all that on each of those user stories in your sprint backlog or in your product backlog. Next, we have the development stage, and the key people involved here are the front-end developers and the back-end developers, the techie people. They perform the magic, right? So when we have the design, we don't have the actual product. We just have like a prototype, right? Now, the development is where they're creating how the real thing will look like. So what is the business analyst doing here? In the waterfall environment, the business analyst is supporting the dev team by clarifying requirements as needed. So you have to be there. The dev team might come back to you to say, oh, this one is not so clear. Can you explain to me? Walk me through these acceptance criteria so that I understand it clearly. Constant communication as and when needed. In Agile as well, the business analyst is actively involved in the daily stand-ups, answering any questions, in the sprint planning, as well as in the review meetings, helping the team to understand and implement those requirements that have been moved to the sprint. We now have the testing stage. Whenever you create something, you want to test it to make sure it's working. You have to do this. And the key people in the testing stage are the QA, your quality assurance people. You have your testers, and you possibly have your solutions architects. Your business analyst also does testing, guys. BA do testing. So in both methodologies, the business analyst will work closely with the testing team, your QA, your testers, so that you ensure that the developed features meet the business requirements, because you really know what the requirements are. So you'll be able to test it well and make sure that it's passed. The business analyst will assist also in preparing the test cases and also in validating the test results. So we create those test cases, which is kind of part of the acceptance criteria as well, so that we know what are the stages, what are the steps involved, what are you clicking, what happens, and what do you click next for you to make sure that that user story passed. Tick. Definition of done. Now, the sixth stage is deployment. Deployment, aka go live. And who are the people here? Your DevOps, your techie people, your system administrator, all those people. So this is where the product is released to the end users. We are live, aka go live, like I said. What is the BA role here? In both Agile and Waterfall methodologies, we are here to help. We're here to help. When you think about business analysis, think about business analysis as a service. We're not just doing requirements gathering, documentation, and stakeholder management, and requirements documentation and elicitation, right? There's a lot of things we do throughout the stages of the project lifecycle. You have to think about business analysis as a service that you are bringing onto the project, onto the organization. You are bringing on a service of value. A service of value by bringing on all your skills, your soft skills, your business analyst mindset. But anyway, so the business analyst role in deployment is just to be there. So you're there to help with user testing. You're there to help with preparing training manuals. Oh my God, I've created so many training manuals, user manuals, as well as addressing any queries or any issues that may arise in that deployment stage. And because you've built that rapport and that relationship with all the stakeholders during your requirements solicitation, gathering documentation, review, sign off, approval, all those things, you've built so much relationship with the stakeholders. You generally will be the go-to person, the person that they trust. If something isn't working, if something doesn't look the way that they have signed off, it's you that they will come to say, how far, or teach me how to do this thing, or because it's a new system, right? So we have so much value to bring, so much service to bring onto the organization, onto the project that we are helping to deliver. So business analyst key. Communication and relationship building is very, very important, so that you can continuously deliver that service, that high level service and value for the project. Anyway, let's go back to the final stage, which is maintenance. Because you've gone live doesn't mean that, okay, yes, we have gone live, everybody find their way and use the system. There's also a stage of maintaining, and the people involved here are the users, as well as any support managers and testers. Business analysts, again, we are here always. We are helpers. So this is where, at the maintenance stage, really, this is where the product is monitored to ensure it's meeting the user's needs. Somebody is monitoring it, and any necessary updates or enhancements are made from that watching and checking that it meets the user's needs. Now, in Agile, the business analyst is involved in backlog refinement for future sprints based on the user feedback. Remember, when we do our demonstration to the stakeholder, there's feedback. New requirements will come up. It's very similar to maintenance, where new requirements come up in the maintenance stage. Certain things are not working. You need further updates to certain things. You need further enhancements. So the business analyst is capturing these new requirements based on the user feedback and putting it in the backlog. And then we're going through that stage, those agile ceremonies again, right? However, in Waterfall, the business analysts will work on gathering the requirements for subsequent versions of the product. There might be different versions of that product that has been delivered. So the business analyst is there again. We're there for requirements gathering generally within the maintenance stage. So that is it. That's it for the project lifecycle and the business analyst role within each stage in both Agile and Waterfall methodologies. So the key takeaway here is that the BA is dynamic and vital to the success of a project. You are very, very vital. You are a very, very important role, regardless on the methodology that is used. Always remember, the business analyst, we are amazing people. Oh, we are amazing. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so that you are updated whenever I upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.